Welcome to another episode of the Cattle USA Daily Podcast. Today we are welcoming back Gary Lezak to the podcast where we are talking all things weather and what is going on right now in the LRC. Where at in the cycle are we? And then Gary is also talking about a really cool thing that is happening coming soon in October. And that is the fact that the LRC is resetting. What does that mean? Gary breaks all of it down for us today. We also touch on hurricane season. We touch on some other things that are happening in the weather and how the Saharan dust is impacting hurricane season. Well, we break it all down in today's podcast episode with Gary. But before we dive into today's episode, I would love it if you guys could take 1 second to like, subscribe, rate, and review this episode. We really appreciate it here at the team. And without further ado, let's hop into this episode with Gary. Gary, welcome back to the podcast. It has been entirely too long. I mean, don't get me wrong, I enjoyed my vacation, but I missed seeing you.
I know it's been 2 weeks. I haven't seen you, and I hope you had a great time up in Canada. That had to have been a great trip. I saw some pictures. And so on a scale of 1 to 10, what was it for you?
Okay, so Canada and Banff in and of itself, probably a solid 8 or 9. It was really great. The entire trip, probably a solid 7, because Glacier was a little bit disappointing because of the smoke. But Banff was still beautiful. Banff was
interesting. The smoke from those fires. It's 3 years in a row. The weather patterns have been producing fires more in Canada than the United States. So
crazy.
I like the Rocky Mountains. I live here in Golden, Colorado. We haven't had a hint of a fire near us at all for the whole 3 years I've been here. So they've been shifted up into Canada. I'll have to do some analysis, but it's probably all part of the LRC. So we'll see. But I'm glad you had a great vacation. I was in Lake Tahoe. I call that the eighth wonder of the world. So it was amazing. I got to see my little nephew and my family. And so we did that. And now I am going to Kansas City for the Eagles game Sunday.
That will be so much fun. And it looks like the weather is going to be pretty good for you, right?
It looks pretty good. The global predictor has been saying close to 80. It's going to be close to 90. So it's going to be 10 degrees warmer. Oh, there's a slight chance of a thunderstorm, but here's the bad part. If there's any thunderstorm, it's not good because lightning causes delays at football games. So yes. Please not that day.
It can split around the stadium. Everywhere else can get water. Just don't let it be anywhere near the stadium.
Not that day. Anyway, but we'll see how it sets up. But I am going there with a friend going to the game, and yeah, so but that's what I'm doing. Everything else is great. The weather patterns right on schedule. We have a very big special just to start it off. If anybody wants to, just for this September. Well, the new LRC, we'll talk about the LRC in a second. Well, the new LRC begins to set up in early October. It's probably going to start evolving right now, but we're still in the same pattern. We have a special. So it's 50% off. It's just $150 right now for the product that we have, weather2020.substack.com. So I would highly recommend everyone going to get that. Spend a year reading our reports. I do a video every week, sometimes twice a week, and you will learn that you're in on this big secret that we have been sharing with you. It is truly a big secret. We have the crystal ball of weather, and I know that within a year, if you get this weather2020.substack.com discount and spend a year with us, you'll go, my gosh, and you'll start using the information for your farm, for any weather sensitive concepts you have in your life or in business. But that's the special we got right now. But Lauren, do you have any questions? The weather pattern is cycling. It's still the same pattern that set up last October now in September.
Yeah, I want to hear all about the new pattern setting up and the fact that talking about what you just said, we're still cycling in the old pattern, but we're getting ready for a new pattern to set up, break all of that down and kind of what some highlights that you're seeing right now.
So if you're new to the LRC or still learning about it, every year around October 5th, 6th, or 7th, somewhere around there, we would call day 1 of every year's pattern. And every year's pattern is unique. Unique means unlike ever before. You're unique. Lauren, and let me tell you, everybody, Lauren is unique. She is a one of a kind. There's no one like Lauren. You are the only Lauren in the world. that is you and you're unique. I mean, you know that you're different than everybody else, right?
Yeah. Oh, yeah. I wear it with pride and like a badge of honor. Jeez.
Isn't it great to be unique?
It is great. You know, whether you want to take it positively or negatively, it's great in my mind. So I
How
love it.
can you take it negative? You're blessed to be here on this earth. It's absolutely fascinating. And so, every one of you listening out there or watching, you are unique and it is incredible. And all we have is right now in this world today, at this moment. We never know what's going to happen. So, enjoy now, realize how beautiful you are as a person, and you are unique. The weather pattern is also unique every year. The pattern we're in now has never, ever, ever happened before. And just like Lauren has never happened before, the weather pattern has never happened before. It's so, I don't know why I'm taking this human analogy, but it's somewhat surprisingly, it's working. So the pattern set up last year. And before this segment, I was showing you a little bit. October 11th last year, we were in the first cycle, probably the end of the first week of the first cycle. And it really is similar to what just cycled through around September the 7th. And right now, as we go through September 11th, 9/11, 24-year history of that big day, and all the way through September, we are still in the same pattern that set up last fall. It's likely gradually beginning to evolve. And by October 5th, we will have a brand new pattern. But the next 7 days are right on schedule. So this big warm up, this heat building in is not shocking. You know, it's fascinating in many respects. But then after we get past this little hot spell, and with still a few thunderstorms, gosh, Kansas has been getting hit in the last week. Um, what's going to happen is the pattern is going to go into what we called at the beginning of winter a wet phase, the wet phase. So even though it's been raining in Kansas, much of the Corn Belt has not been getting rain in the last 2 weeks. So it's drying out. That's good news for harvest in some respects. But keep in mind, we've been predicting the last week of September, the first week of October will get very wet. Okay, so we'll see because the new pattern's evolving. Maybe it will flip and not quite do that. But I am expecting and predicting that it's going to get wet that 2 to 3 week stretch towards the end of September and the first part of October. And that's not showing up on the models yet, but I believe it will. But just know that that's coming.
Can you explain what's special about the beginning of October? Why is that when the cycle starts over and a new cycle begins?
I don't know 100% for sure. All right. We have a hypothesis in that area. It's probably not a coincidence, but on September 22nd, summer will end and fall will begin. And that's a whole other topic. I'm going to get on a tangent here. Here's the tangent. Logical summer is supposedly June, July, and August. So on September 1st, it's now fall, according to meteorological fall. I am a meteorologist, and I don't believe in that. All right. I believe in astronomical fall, which starts September 22nd. So on that day, the sun sets at the North Pole. On the first day of spring, the sun rises at the North Pole. There's only one sunrise and there's only one sunset at both poles every year. And so September 22nd is the day the sun sets. It's dark 12 days later. We have twilight here in the United States in most areas for about an hour, and then it gets dark. At the North Pole, it's twilight for like almost 2 weeks, a dozen days. And right around October 5th or 6th is when it goes dark. And that is a coincidence or not. But that's when the LRC begins. So I believe there's an astronomical reason for the LRC to start around October 5th, 6th, or 7th. There may be some, there's solar cycles. There's 89-year drought cycle you may have heard about that was supposed to come back this past year. It did not, as I expected and we anticipated. It may have already happened a couple of years ago, believe it or not. And there are these other cycles that happen in the atmosphere, but that's how it starts. October 5th, 6th, or 7th, probably related to the sun setting at the North Pole and energy spreading over the Northern Hemisphere, and the pattern gets stuck. And by November 30th, we'll know what the new cycle is. This year was a 38 to 44 day cycle, right on 41 days. And it's like a river Vera up there. We're able to predict the weather. As I said, you're all in on a secret. So what does this mean for you? That means we're still in the same pattern. We're going to get wet at the end of the month. We know it because that part of the pattern is going to cycle back through, and then something brand new will happen 1 month from now.
So exciting. It's such a fun time around here. I love it.
Exciting.
What other highlights are we seeing in the weather right now? Anything else that we need to hit on today, Gary, that is happening in the worldwide world of the weather?
Well, just the fact that the jet stream's getting stronger and that the storm systems are going to start getting stronger. And so that will line up with the stormier part of the pattern at the end of the month. Probably some severe thunderstorms. There could be some hail and tornado risks later this month we'll be looking at as the jet stream gets stronger. But that's about all. We have to watch this fascinating thing happen. But all of you, sometimes I get a little complex here, but I'm going to try to simplify it in the next few weeks. In that report, I just wrote one on that weather2020.substack.com report. I did a video trying to explain it. So you'll learn a lot more in the next year if you do join. And then also, hurricane season has been quiet. We're not perfect. I am not happy about I am happy because it's quiet, because that means we don't have any disasters so far. But there's a reason why it's been so quiet. I don't want to make excuses. Our forecast was for an active season, and it looks like we're going to fail after 3 straight years of being the best. Number one, it might be 3 out of 4. It'll just show that we're not perfect. But it's not back to the drawing board. The systems we predicted are happening. It's just been so quiet, and we think the biggest reason is probably the dust and sand that comes across from the Sahara Desert. Oh, it happens every year. Okay. But this year was stronger and more dustier than usual. And it might be the reason why nothing has been developing in this past 30 days. And peak hurricane season just happened on September the 10th. So we're still in that peak. We're going to probably have a threat or two in the Carolinas or Florida or the Gulf of Mexico as we go into late September. So September 20th or so, the Saharan dust might weaken a little bit, and we could still have a disaster on our hands. We predicted 17 to 23 named storms. There have only been 6. So if there are 6 more, that would be a lot from this point. So we might only end up with 12 or 13, and I will have overshot that forecast.
Good to know. Good to know. That's crazy how one thing happening on the other side of the world can affect something so major as tropical storms and hurricane season for us. Like, that's the correlation, causation, all of that overlapping it's mind-boggling.
I know, it really is. And then, it's amazing. This Saharan dust ends up in the Amazon rainforest in South America from Africa's Saharan desert. So it spreads across and has an impact on a lot of things. But what it does, if you're wondering, when there's a lot of that sand and dust in the air, it causes just it to be a slightly cooler. And as a result, the cumulus clouds don't grow, and then you don't get hurricanes.
Interesting. That's crazy how that all works. Well, Gary, thank you as always for your time today, and welcome back. It's good to be back. It's good to be back in the groove. Great to start out our Wednesday like this. I'm so happy that we're starting to get back into the routine, back into the groove of after being gone and all the things. So this has been wonderful. To all of our listeners, the first link down below is going to be that Substack link for you guys. So make sure you go check out that Substack that Gary has. If you feel like you have gained anything from this podcast over the past 6 months of Gary and I talking every single week about the LRC and the weather and everything like that, just think of how much more you're going to get from a Substack report every week, where Gary just dives in with way more detail, way more education, and makes it so that our brains that aren't meteorologists can really understand what's going on. So make sure you check out that link that's down below. And Gary, thank you for your time as always. And to all of our listeners, we will see you all tomorrow on another episode. Have a good one, y'all.